In our last episode, we ventured into Terra 1 Publications to restore an old printing press, which Graham Bryant, the leader of the freedom-fighting Iconoclasts, intends to use to print anti-Board propaganda. Upon returning to Amber Heights, Zora Blackwood asked us to meet her in the medical clinic to discuss something of importance.
Hey, Captain. I need your help, and we ought to keep it hush-hush. You know about what happened here, right? The history of Amber Heights?
I don't, actually. Fill me in.
Years ago, almost a decade come to think of it, the executives running MSI lived here. If you can believe it, Amber Heights was a residence for decadent high-class types. When the other corporations started pulling out, the planet was chaotic. People got lost in the shuffle, a lot of equipment failures, a lot of death. Pirates ransacked Amber Heights, killed the execs, their families, took off with whatever they could carry. We're talking 100 innocent people.
Wow, that's really awful.
Right. Common belief is that the pirates fled to an old relay station that had already been abandoned, but nobody could find them. The station's locked up, but one of my people found an old data cartridge in a nearby rat nest. It's mostly corrupted, but I pulled a couple codes off of it. One is the code to the Amber Heights gate. I don't recognize the other, but it's similar. I bet it opens a door.
But a random door code doesn't sound too useful.
I know it's a long shot, but if we miss something there, if you can get into that station, maybe we can get some answers.
What's this you mentioned about the Amber Heights gate?
Right. The access codes to Amber Heights. What gets me is, if this belonged to the pirates, that means they knew someone there. If someone gave them the gate code, all those deaths, Captain, all that blood is on their hands.
This sounds like information the rest of the Iconoclasts should know. Why are we keeping it to ourselves?
Graham isn't fond of talking about the history here. He had friends who worked here. The massacre hit him pretty hard. You know him. Live and let live and all that. I don't want to burden him right now, especially if this ends up being a dead end.
I don't get what's so important about this. I mean, don't you have bigger problems right now?
I surely do. But it's not far, and if they died in there, they died with their munitions. We'll need them. Besides, if it's filled with valuables from the aristocrats who lived here, we can pawn them off on Sublight and get ourselves ahead on our food budget.
Okay, so go to the relay station and see if the code is useful. Anything else?
Just a warning. The area's infested with mantisaurs. I'd send some help, but we're, preparing for war.
Right, I'm on it.
Appreciate it. Here's the code. If it works, bring back anything you find. Supplies are best, but information's good too. If someone was behind the Amber Heights massacre, it'd give a lot of people around here some closure to find out who and string them up. Good luck. Watch out for the Taros.
So, to summarize, Zora believes that this data cartridge belonged to the pirates that invaded Amber Heights, due to the fact that it was found near to the location the pirates were rumored to have escaped to. This data cartridge has 2 codes on it. The first is the gate code to Amber Heights, and the second is another code that Zora believes grants access to the pirates' abandoned hideout. Frankly, she has every right to be concerned. If the data cartridge did in fact belong to the pirates, then that means that someone on the inside provided them with the gate code to Amber Heights, and was thus responsible for the entire massacre. But who would do such a thing? To find out, we have to travel to the relay station, which is located southwest of Amber Heights. Looking at our map, we see that the best route is to travel south along the road, passing by Fallbrook and then heading west towards Forlorn Crossroads. From there, it's just a short walk to the relay station. After taking out a few Raptidons along the way, we come to a gang of marauders blocking the road. Looks like they've used these barriers and roadblocks here to create a makeshift camp out here in the wilderness. Sorry, marauders, but I need to get by. Once the marauders are dead, we can go ahead and loot their bodies and then continue on our way. We reach a four-way intersection just up ahead, and looking at our map, it appears that we've already made it to Fallbrook Crossroads, just a little bit further now. After taking out a few more marauders down the road, we suddenly spot a mantisaur not far from our location. Thankfully though, we don't have to attack, because the path to the relay station takes us off the main road to the west. The relay station is surrounded by a long fence, but we can access the property by creeping through an opening towards the southern end. As Zora alluded to back in Amber Heights, the place is crawling with mantisaurs. However, the grounds are also replete with patches of tall grass, which we can use to slowly sneak towards our objective. Thankfully, this sneaky attempt of mine paid off. But that's not to say that there weren't a few close calls. At last, we reach a terminal, which we can use to enter the code that Zora provided us with. Looks like her suspicions were correct. This grants us access to the records room, which we find ourselves in after passing through a door just to the right of the terminal. In the corner of the room, we find the body of a Sublight thug. Does this mean that Sublight Salvage and Shipping was behind the Amber Heights Massacre? Were they the pirates that Zora was telling us about? On the Sublight Thug's body, we can loot 4 bit cartridges, 25 energy cells, weapon parts, and an armor accessory called Hemlock's Eye Patch, which increases damage dealt during sneak attacks by 10%. There's a lot of loot here in the records room, which makes sense considering that this is the room the pirates used to stash their goods after raiding Amber Heights. Of note, we find a wide array of Hephaestus armor, power helmets, pressure suits, and so on. On the west side of the room, near to a large control board, we find several bypass shunts, and on the floor to the south is a total of 235 bit cartridges. There's also 2 large containers here, one of which I couldn't open. However, in the second large container, we find 63 more bit cartridges and an old data cartridge. The description for this data cartridge reads, "Given the rust, the sulfur degradation, and the years spent sitting in dirt and dust, it'll be a miracle if anything can be found on it." Still, Zora would be interested to see it. Indeed she would. With any luck, this data cartridge will hold more information surrounding the Amber Heights Massacre. After slowly creeping past the mantisaurs again and making our way through the fence, we can fast travel back to Amber Heights and speak with Zora.
Welcome back. You find anything out there?
Yeah, I found a box of data cartridges.
Let's see. These are old. Looks like correspondences between the pirates. Some bits here, some there, some... Wait. This one's got the Amber Heights gate code on it, just like the one I found earlier. And here's a letter. Wait, this is from Graham. Oh, of all the... Captain. He gave them the gate codes.
But that means that Graham was the one who caused the attack.
Yeah. He did. He really did. I know he's got his head in the clouds, but I always believed there was a core of good there. What the hell happened to live and let live? Thank you for bringing this back, but I need some time. I gotta think. I'll let you know if I figure something out.
I guess the only question I have, folks, is why? Why would Graham do such a thing? All those innocent lives lost. All those families completely shattered. After uncovering the shocking truth, we can confront Graham.
The cool evening air refreshes my spirit and brings only the faintest hint of sulfur.
Cut the crap, Graham. I know you're responsible for the Amber Heights Massacre.
When I founded the Iconoclasts, I did so amidst the ghosts of this planet's past. Since then, many have asked me, why here? Were you involved in the massacre? Was that some gruesome plot to clear a path for my dreams? My response to you is the same as to all others. The death of MSI was an incidental tragedy. I'd have walked this path with or without it.
Yeah, an incidental tragedy that you caused, maybe. How can you live with yourself, Graham? You murdered them.
I did no such thing. Their deaths came in the night while I slept in Stellar Bay. And regardless, we're discussing a past long since left behind. Those ghosts still haunt me. but they needn't curse my people. When the entire colony has embraced our truth, perhaps then the perpetrator will come into the light. Until then, it does us no good to dwell on past mistakes.
Okay, if you're gonna go ahead and play this denial game, let me ask you this. For the sake of the argument, why do you imagine the perpetrator might have done it?
If I were the type of man to make that decision, and I assure you I am not, I'd have to be so obsessed with dismantling their regime that I'd turn to desperate measures. I have since learned that their mistakes will end them in time, and that we will persevere where they do not. But back then, suffocating under that oppressive culture, I can understand a lesser man than myself making a terrible, ghastly mistake.
So what you're really saying is, a stupider, younger you thought you were doing the world a favor.
If MSI had abandoned this place and taken to Terra 2, any hope for our salvation would have been lost. Here, without the shackles of the Halcyon board, we are free to grow as the universe intended. Had we fled with MSI, our spirits would have withered. You've seen that withering yourself. The colony is dying. The massacre of Amber Heights, unfortunate as it was, presented the slim possibility of saving the souls of Terra 2. Here we are, poised to do just that.
But you have blood on your hands, Graham. You can't just play judge, jury, and executioner like that.
Free will is a double-edged sword, Captain. The universe judges us all. Whether your choices are helpful or harmful to the cosmos is not up to you. Those executives were found to be poisonous to the spirit of humanity. They were doomed, whether by the hands of man or beast, their time was coming to an end. And here I am, a paragon of the eternal truth, leading a society of like-minded people. The universe has found me worthy, despite whatever sins you believe I've committed. Let us speak no more of this, Captain. We have a message to spread and a colony to save.
And that's all Graham has to say on the matter. If we go to speak with him again, we're not given the option to ask him anything more about the Amber Heights massacre. This quest has dramatically changed the way that I view Graham Bryant and the Iconoclasts. I'm all for fighting for freedom, but if that freedom is won by spilling the blood of innocents, then that's where I draw the line. Graham argues that the ends justify the means, that by having the MSI executives killed off, he prevented the company from shipping off to Terra 2 following the signing of the Hazard Clause. Had MSI relocated to Terra 2, Graham argues that their spirits would have withered, and there wouldn't have been enough motivation to form the Iconoclasts. In short, Graham orchestrated the massacre to kick his rebellion into full gear. Now folks, I come from a very simple premise. Killing innocent people is never justified. I don't care if it was the spark that led to a freedom-fighting clan known as the Iconoclasts. It isn't right. Graham's a smart man, and I find it hard to believe that he couldn't have found another way to kick off his rebellion that didn't involve innocent lives being lost. There must have been another solution. I'm relieved to see that Zora seems to agree with me. She was utterly shocked when she learned that Graham had caused the Amber Heights massacre, and I sincerely hope that she acts upon it. To be fair, Graham does seem to regret what he did all those years ago, but that doesn't mean he shouldn't be held responsible. I plan on making a full-length video on the Hazard Clause and the Amber Heights massacre in the future, folks, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But until then, I would love to know what you think. Were you surprised to learn that Graham had taken such drastic steps to form the Iconoclasts? How did this revelation change how you view the group as a whole? Let me know in the comments below. I post new videos on the Outer Worlds every Wednesday and Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, so be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be alerted when I post new content. If you're so inclined, leave a like on this video too. I'd really appreciate it. I'll be back in just a few days with a brand new video on the Outer Worlds, but that's all I've got for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.